What is going on, Clipper Nation? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 26 of Clips and Dip, your tri-weekly-ish Clippers podcast. I am Chuck Mockler, joined, we got the full crew tonight. Adam Oslin, William Updike is here. We are going to talk about spoiling Paul George's return to Intuit, the back-to-back weekend the Clippers have upcoming, and then a possible renaming of one of our most beloved segments that we'll have to get into later. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching us on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast, you can listen to us anywhere you get your pods. Before we get into all of that, it's been a big week in America and in Clippers dumb. Adam and Will, how are you doing on this pitch black evening in Los Angeles on November 7th? Will, we'll start with you.
I'm doing good. Yeah. Hit a workout after work and then forgot that I was washing all of my towels. So that's why I'm wearing a hat. Got really wet hair. It was not my smartest decision.
You're in your Japan droids era with the wet hair.
Exactly. Very much so. Very much so.
Adam, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. It's good to talk Clippers with you guys. Will came on for a little Clips and Double Dip last night after another big victory. Of course. Why else would he be coming on?
I didn't even answer the text. I was already in bed. I knew who was going to be on the radio. For those of you unfamiliar with the Double Dip, it's when one of us gets to go on AM 570 with Adam postgame. It's very fun. It can be streamed over on Clippers Talk. Will goes on when they win. I go on when they tie or lose. When I get on. I haven't been on for a tie yet, but that would be a pretty fun appearance if I'm being honest. Let's get into it. The Clippers vanquished Paul George and the Sixers, who are in so much trouble.
They're so screwed.
They're
so screwed.
He went to the
East Coast.
He went to the East Coast version of the Clippers with meaner press people and worse weather.
Yeah. And Maxey is gonna miss weeks, they're saying, with that hamstring.
Yeah, Adam, you were in the building. How were the wall was phenomenal. Shout out the wall. We talked about Adam, you and I talked about them maybe getting a little crazier. They were at full tilt.
You could hear it on the broadcast. You could hear the boos every time PG came up the court with the ball.
How'd it feel in the building, Adam?
It was extremely loud, even though the place wasn't completely full still, but it was loud. It was noticeable. And I think they kind of walked the line of, not crossing it, but still being appropriately harsh with some of the signage that was out there.
I thought it was respectfully disrespectful.
Yeah,
I love that. That's perfect.
Cutting and to the point.
Very much to the point.
It was, I can't believe the PG think before you speak sign. And that was well coordinated because multiple people had it.
What was the newspaper?
The newspaper, I guess, was supposed to represent old news, your old news, and also just be a distraction while at the free throw line.
He went over my head. I'm not smart enough. That was great.
No, somebody had to tell me late last night.
Paul George saw the think before you speak sign. He went, "You can do that?"
What?
I liked.
He said what before he finished reading it. PG think what?
Huh? I liked in the post game how he said he kind of understood why they booed, but also didn't understand it, and it was fair. I don't know. It was like a perfect.
But then he also said like it's not like I left as a free agent. It's not like I demanded a trade or whatever. It's like that's not the problem, dude. No
one's mad that he left.
No one's mad that you left. That's not why they were booing.
A perfect encapsulation of what it's like to have Paul George on your basketball team, I think.
Miriam Swanson was beating around the bush trying to lead him to water with seeing if he saw that sign without saying what the sign was. And he just said he didn't see any of that stuff. So maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
BS. Big time BS.
I was watching him when he was on the bench and he was staring straight ahead and he wouldn't look to his left where the wall was. And he had an iPad and he was running over plays and stuff. It's possible, but man, there's no way he didn't hear some of the stuff they said. That's for sure.
Dallas Rutherford was in the building, which is very funny. I knew
what did he say, by the way? What was the post that he deleted when people were like, wait a second? You're really gonna say that as soon as you leave? Did you say bum ass Clippers or something like
He
that?
said bum ass Clippers fans.
That was
And
so weak.
it was like, dude, you don't even do anything.
Why are they booing me?
Just be
Why
on
would
the
they
pod.
possibly be booing me?
We don't even care about you, Dallas Rutherford. Just move on.
King of the Hill side character ass name.
They're bringing it back, by the way. King of the Hill.
I know. King of the Hill is probably my favorite, maybe TV show of all time.
That's awesome.
I'm worried about the return.
I'm always like that with the show that I hold on to preciously, and then it comes back way later, like Arrested Development, that they kind of ruined it.
Well, I mean, Brittany Murphy can't do the way, like,
it always sucks.
R.I.P. Like,
yeah,
never.
Dumb and Number 2, though, pretty great.
You talk about a sequel.
Better than the original, for sure.
It's up there with Child's Play 2 in terms of how you should do a sequel. All right, on the court, some other things happened. Norm Powell. I think Justin Rousseau coined this term. He said Norm Powell won the first addition by subtraction bowl against Paul George. 26 points on 80% shooting, which...
This was somehow a Norm Powell revenge game, which doesn't even necessarily make sense, but that's what it felt like.
That's a great point. He played... The scoring was phenomenal. I'm not saying we're used to the efficiency, but it's just yet another.
This was the "you're always right, Paul" Norm Powell game.
But he had 2 passes that might have been his best assists or most flashy assists as a Clipper in this one. He had one to Terrence Mann. I think one was to Derrick Jones Jr. But like Will, you're right. He played like he got traded unfairly from the 76ers.
He played like a guy that cares about backing up his talk. Unlike somebody else.
Love that.
He said, addition by subtraction. He backed it up. Paul George said, I'm going to be on my bully shit. He didn't back it up. He said a lot of other stuff before, too. Norman Powell is about it. Like everything he's doing right now. Last 5 games, he's shooting 51% from 3. It is incredible what he's doing. Like he's playing like an all-star. If he had this number line for the rest of the season, he probably should be an all-star. I'm not saying that's going to hold, but he is legitimately awesome right now.
And the Clippers need every single part of it. I mean, everyone for the most part shot. I think I'm looking at the stats. There's only 2 guys who shot below 50% in this game, which is pretty incredible. It was James Harden and Kevin Porter Jr.
But Kevin Porter Jr. go 1 for 2?
1 for 4.
Okay. Sorry.
And Jordan Miller went 0 for 1, but I don't really want to count that. The garbage time yet again, just horrible from the Clippers.
Harden yet again, not a great efficiency game, but probably the most important stretch of the game. I think it was the last 4 minutes of the third quarter, and he scored 10 points. And it might have been 8 or 9 straight for the Clippers. Mm-hmm. That was the game. That's when they got the big lead, and they put him away early in the fourth.
Yeah, 12 of his 18 in that third quarter. 6 times. 6 turnovers, which
there were some sloppy ones late too. Once they got up big, really bad turnovers.
We were lucky that Philadelphia was turning the ball over like they were, and we managed to capitalize on it way more. If you look at the points off of turnovers between the 2 teams, it's pretty striking how much more often we were able to take advantage of that.
I think they had 27 points off their 20 turnovers, which is insane. Like. They were so good at shrinking the floor. Their defense was so good for pretty much every minute out there. That was really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It was like the most comfortable win of the season
so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it was absolutely, yeah.
They did not make anyone stress.
No, like in the beginning, it was kind of tight and cagey, but you're right, Adam. They shrunk the floor well.
It was over in the third.
Were they up 14 heading into the fourth, 14 or 16, something like that?
Yeah.
It was one big run into the third, just ended them. Paul George, by the way, did hit some crazy shots in that game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Really impressive. The double team from Dunn and Batum that he hit to start off the fourth quarter was like, holy crap. But he only took 9 shots. How do you only take 9 shots? It's like the playoffs. Only took 15 shots against Dallas. I mean, you got to go out firing.
You do, and he did not. The shot making was crazy. He had some fantastic turnovers, which I don't miss at all from him. And
But his timing's still off post game. He's not right yet. But a lot of people would say, no, those turnovers looked about right from what we've seen.
yeah, man, what's it going to look like when he's right?
Very on brand.
Very on brand. They shut down Tyrese Maxey for the most part, who finally got a break. He only had to play 31 minutes in this one. That's 10 fewer minutes than he's usually playing. He's probably happy a little bit.
I'm trying to think. Did he play it all in the fourth? Or did the
Let me look.
hamstring thing pop up before then? You know?
I thought he exited in the fourth, like really early in the fourth.
Did he?
I don't think he doesn't have anything in the box score for the fourth.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So he was out. He played the whole third.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I was thinking he appeared in the fourth.
He was on the court when they opened it up. So just like with the Steph Curry leaving that game late, it was like they were already up by 9. I'm not going to say that's the reason the Clippers won.
Oh, no way. Yeah, and he was minus 16 in that third quarter. Whereas James Harden coincidentally also played the whole third quarter.
Plus 16.
Wow.
They need another guard, which is a problem the Clippers cannot relate to.
Yeah, we're doing great. Do you think they'll trade for Bones Highland? Because I don't know if Bones is ever going to get any time. After this weekend, we'll be at 10 games, so maybe Ty Lue makes a change, but that's been yet another inefficient KPJ game, so people wonder if Bones Highland is going to get that shot.
The KPJ, though, lineup with Big Zoo and Amir and Dunn and Batum, +1 in 4 minutes. Like, it was interesting. Nobody had a crazy lineup. I think the biggest plus was a +7, and they used like 12 different lineups in that game.
Oh, wow.
And the +7 was from the starters. That was the biggest plus-minus swing.
Which is great because the starters have been not in the plus. So it's nice for the starting lineup to get back
was good.
into the plus.
Generally, you want your starting lineup to be a plus. Is a pretty good indicator of how your team's doing.
Early third quarter, Terrence Mann was nice.
He scored in the third quarter for the third time this season.
He took 6 shots, which I feel like is like if he's around 6 to 8, I feel like that's pretty decent for what he's asked to do. You know, we obviously if the shots are there, you want to see him take more, but I think if he's in that range, that seems pretty reasonable to me for where he should be at in terms of just aggression within the flow of the game.
There was certainly some hope this summer that he could double his outpouring of scoring wise, go from 8.
I had high hopes, man.
But realistically, man, like was he realistically taking over 10 field goal attempts in a game, like average over an entire season?
The propaganda I was fed told me maybe. Not yet.
I think 12 points was reasonable. Average 12 points, like that's not crazy.
You can do that on 6 to 8
feels
shots.
like it now. Yeah.
That's true.
The third, though, did look like classic Terrence Mann. He had a bucket on a layup where he just bullied. I forget who it might have been Maxey on the right block. Yeah. He had that 3-pointer off the crazy pass from Norm Powell after he went between his legs between 2 defenders to give it to him. That man spark seemed to be there to start the second half. I liked seeing that at least.
And they needed it, right? Like we just mentioned, it wasn't a tense win, but it's nice to make it a little more comfortable through sparks like that. And I think that goes to that point that Will, you brought up, where it's like you kind of need some of these outlier performances, and that might just be like the beginning of the third, or something like that.
DJ was great last night.
Yes. Shout out Derek Jones Jr.
3 dunks? 4 dunks? How many?
Everyone was dunking. Dunn had an insane dunk.
Dunn had that was a great
end of the third, the baseline dunk. And then
other than the Wemby dunk, the Zoo dunk on Wemby, that's like one of my favorites of the season, the Dunn one.
Well, and Harden had 2 half-court lobs, one to Derek Jones Jr., one to Kai Jones, who I think I don't know if this was the first time he's played in the second half this year.
Barely played.
For Kai Jones, but it was 50 seconds in the third quarter. But I'm still a little worried about Kai, but we'll talk about that later in the season.
I think my favorite was the Derek Jones Jr. left-handed dunk baseline off the lob from Norman Powell, who I think probably had his best passing game as a Clipper.
Absolutely.
Like, for as much as we talk about his lack of playmaking, it's been better. And that game was something. It's like if he could build off of that, like
with the gravity, like in the starting lineup, you know, like on the bench, like obviously he's like a killer, but he's demanding a different type of gravity right now. Yeah. So I think that like is going to facilitate his playmaking, even if it is like in a more limited scope than you would, you know, maybe in an ideal situation want, but he's going to be getting a lot more attention. And I think that it both gives him more opportunities and I think just makes things a little bit easier.
Like I
For
mentioned how in
Harden too, right? Like
his last 5 games, he's shooting 51% from 3. Who gives a shit, Adam? He's shooting 49% from 3 overall in 8
yeah,
games.
I was like, how many? It's only played 8.
How are you going to leave that guy open? And he just keeps firing, and his confidence is at an all-time high. When he was talking junk to PG and the Sixers bench after knocking down a big 3 in the 4th, it's just Norm is out for blood right now, and I love it.
You know who else was good? Who was one of our picks for player of the game? Nico Batum. Nico Batum. Not a revenge game, which he made very clear in the pregame. He was like, I left. It's not a revenge game.
That's kind of nonsensical, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
why would he care?
Yeah, 7 points, 3 steals, doing that defensive stuff you love to see. Amir Coffey again, another great game. Like timely buckets from Amir. I brought this up on the Clippers pod Twitter. The fact that he makes $3.6 million per year is already insane. And the fact now that coupled with the new cap apron stuff, his value is off the charts for the Clippers right now.
And like this is a complete nonsense hypothetical. I'm just throwing it out there because obviously Amir is already locked up. But this far, almost 10 games into the season, you look at KPJ and you look at Amir Coffey. Like, what is the most you're offering KPJ right now after a 1-year prove-it deal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Amir deal?
Well, KPJ's on a 2-year, right?
But isn't it a player option on the second year?
Oh, is it? My bad.
I thought it was like 1 and a player. I thought it was 2, but the second year was a player option. It was like kind of the classic prove it.
Let me check.
Let me see. For some reason, I was thinking it was
player option. 2.2 this year, 2.5 next year with a player option, and then he's unrestricted.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
So he's at 2.2 right now. I mean, how much over what Amir makes would you realistically give him?
I mean, after what we've seen, not that much based on this year. Like, Amir has outplayed him. The usage.
You're getting 3.4. You're not getting more than Amir. Get out of here.
I think that's fair. But a wonderful way to get a dub it into it. Yeah, I don't know. Good luck over in Philly, Paul George. It's not shaping up to be a successful season.
It looks so. I didn't see the hamstring timeline. We're talking weeks.
That's what I thought the Sham Suite said.
I mean, that makes sense with a hamstring. That's tough to manage.
And
again,
he's
to be back though after the next 2 games, at least. But
and Maxi's playing 41 minutes a game. Like they're needing Tyrese Maxey.
Someone gave me a stat from I think 1976 or since 1978. Teams that start 1-6, only 12 teams ever made the playoffs doing that. Now, obviously, over that time, they've expanded how many teams make the playoffs, and there's a play-in now. But I still think there's a good chance they could end up being a top 6 seed and staying out of the play-in, Philly, even with this slow start, because like they could end up winning 70% of their games from here on out. But I guess you could say, well, Embiid's not playing back-to-backs.
Neither's Paul George, right?
Yeah, I mean,
couple of weeks. Yeah.
They've kind of put themselves in a hole where they're going to have to push things early on just to get back into the race, which could leave guys a little bit more taxed for later in the season. Like, yeah, I'd be concerned.
I mean, I guess like
tough
luckily
scene
for them, the Bucks have also been garbage to start.
Well, I also like, does it really matter? Like the Celtics.
Yeah,
I don't
just
think
that.
either of those teams. Either of those teams are. I don't watch a lot of Eastern Conference basketball, but from everything I've seen, it seems like the Celtics.
Hey guys, you ever listen to this Postal Service album? It's called "Give Up."
Yes. All right. On that note, we are going to kick it into the Clippers weekend back-to-back preview, which yet again another back-to-back coming up. If you're listening to us on audio. Thank you, by the way. You can find us anywhere you find pods. We're going to do a quick audio break. If you don't want to do the quick audio break, you can watch us on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. We're talking the Clippers weekend back-to-back after these ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back in to Clips and Dip, your favorite basketball podcast about the Clippers. Anyways, we talked about the phenomenal win over Philly, most comfortable win of the season for the Clippers. Now looking ahead to hopefully a couple more comfortable wins as the Clippers have a back-to-back with travel, luckily only on the West Coast, but they take on the Kings at is that Golden One?
Golden One Center, baby.
At Golden One.
Buffet, right?
Yeah, exactly. At Golden One before returning into it to take on the Raptors. Charles, I'm gonna kick it to you. What do you think about this Kings game? Is this a winnable one for the Clips?
I think it is winnable. I think both of these games are winnable. It's weird situations. I think it's unfair that the Clippers have to. They're an old team. I think it's unfair they have to travel for the second game of back-to-back to play a very young.
I mean, Adam, what's the flight Sacramento to LA?
Yeah, what are we talking?
Hour and a half? That
I mean,
95
commercial. It's probably 50 minutes for them. Honestly,
Yeah, that's true.
it's like an hour 10 for the rest of us peasants.
It's about as long as the drive to their old practice facility used to be.
Seriously.
It is funny. These two teams, the Raptors and Kings, play each other, I think, tonight.
Oh, do they?
Or like that was one
That's
of their last
interesting.
games.
I mean, it makes sense. Raptors West Coast swing. Well, no, doesn't look like. Looks like Raptors got the. Oh, they lost yesterday to the Kings, 122 to 107 in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's both their last games. Just kind of weird. I think the Kings game, Zoo versus Sabonis is going to be big, obviously. The Kings are weird, though. They're not taking that many threes. They're 21st.
Because they can't hit shit anymore all of a sudden. That started in the preseason. That last game against the Clippers, everybody was talking about how the Kings cannot hit a three in the preseason, and it's continued.
Yeah.
They're like 32%.
They're 26th in three-point percentage, 21st in three-point attempts. They got Fox, Murray, and Herter taking at least 6, and they're a combined 31% from three.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they're hitting 15 against the Clippers.
I mean, those guys combining for 31 is nuts. That's going to turn around.
And yeah, so the average of those three is 31.
They're not hitting threes, and they're still 5-3.
And they're 5th in offensive rating.
Yeah, there you go.
They're a top 5 offensive rated team. It's very
just outside the top 10 defensively, which I think is more surprising.
It's a very weird team. I guess I'm not sure what's real with the Kings, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. We know they probably won't shoot very well from outside, but they got to be hammering teams in the paint.
Well, I'm looking at points in the paint. They're 12th. They're at 49.
Like, a lot of mid-range, though.
DeMar DeRozan effect, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are they not turning the ball over? DeMar DeRozan's at 53% from the field. So, yeah, they're probably doing some damage from 10 to 16 feet out. Keegan Murray, Fox loves getting into the float game, push shots.
So Zoo's going to be big in this one, basically. If they're taking a bunch of mid-range shots, they're going into the paint for floaters. Zoo's going to be a lot to do other than just, quote-unquote, guard Sabonis.
How do you feel about that matchup, Adam? That Sabonis-Zoo matchup?
Like, am I torn? People always wonder, you're from Sacramento. Who are you rooting for? I'm like, guys,
how do you think Zoo 0.0, now that he's taken a step, he's taken a leap, how do you think that is going to work out just for Zubats?
He's traditionally been good against Sabonis. Like, he's dunked on him a couple of times in embarrassing fashion for Sabonis.
He averages 11 and 8 against Sabonis over his career.
What's Sabonis getting against him?
Sabonis is getting 17, 11, and 5.
And what's
locking him down?
What's the minutes distribution between those two?
Unclear.
Sabonis getting 10 more minutes per game.
yeah. Sabonis is
probably.
No, that's only their matchup.
I mean, that is not their. I don't think that's their matchup minutes. But I mean, that is a good point because before this year, Zoo was not. Playing a lot of minutes.
That's why I said Zoo 0.0.
I do like the Zoo 0.0. So Zoo in those games is at 25 minutes. Can I get Sabonis here? Sabonis is 36. At 31. So I mean, it's not nothing. 6 more minutes than a guy can make a pretty big difference. But yeah, I think Zubas will do well. Like he's playing. He quietly had a really good game too, within just the flow of the offense last
Yeah.
night. Super
Only 9
efficient.
attempts, but
Yeah, wasn't forcing a lot.
8%, like 3 dimes too.
Everybody is
If it's not a
passing.
double-double, it's a garbage Zoo game.
Which I like, though. I
Trash.
like that we're kind
Throw it
of
away.
getting to that territory where it's like, no double-double, damn. Like,
I feel like everybody is passing the last 2 games really well out of the short roll and finding someone for a far side corner 3. Like every time they wait for the double, they pass out of it. And the last 2 games, guys are taking the open shot much more willingly after
yes.
Coach Lou was preaching that. And their 3-point shooting the last 2 games, what is it at? Like 46% combined, something like that? Because they shot like 51% against San Antonio and I think 41% last night. So they've been pretty damn good shooting the basketball. I hope that's not everything that's just covering up their flaws right now. It's just hot shooting, and we can't really put too much into the last 2 games because they're just so hot from beyond the arc. But I think it's,
No, that's not a possibility. Yeah. You don't need to finish that thought.
It's the type
no
of
problem.
shots they're getting. They're getting a lot of good shots right now. They're creating these open looks. Hopefully.
It'll be tough against, I mean, this team, like, as of right now, they have a really good defense. Top 10-ish defense. They're 11th in defensive rating. The Kings are. So it's going to be weird. DeMar and De'Aaron are going to be an issue. Davion Mitchell is someone who I like a lot. And I hope, or no, he's on the Raptors.
Wait, he's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's on the Raptors now.
Seamless segue, dude.
Seamless segue, yeah. Do we see them getting the dub against the Kings before they have to come back against the Raptors?
Yeah, they're gonna rattle off 4 straight.
Honestly, I'm pretty concerned about the Kings game.
Yeah, I am too.
I gotta be honest.
It's a team that shot profile wise could.
They also just have a really good offense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason their offensive ranking is so high is they're second in 2-point field goals right now percentage. They're at 59% there, only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers who haven't lost a damn game yet. They're hitting everything from 2.
So we need that. We need an elite Chris Dunn game on defense. We need Derek Jones Jr. to be locked in. We kind of need, no pun intended, literally all hands on deck from the defense to make things harder for the mid-range of the Kings.
Yeah.
And Zoo's going to be asked if early foul trouble for Zoo, and I'm very worried about how this game will go.
Well, Sabonis did get the best of Kai on a couple possessions in that last preseason game.
Yeah, that's putting it kindly.
He does it to a lot of guys, but he got the best of Kai. That's for sure.
Well, Kai, I mean, the thing with Kai, man, is like you get the highlight dunk from last night, right? And you're like, wow, what a high flyer. That's great. And then he doesn't box out, or he gets bullied he's just backing up the whole time. And then the guy, like, he's got some work to do. And I hope we don't have to see him for more than 9 minutes or whatever. He might be averaging less than that.
Their small ball the last 2 games has been very solid.
Yes, absolutely.
And Norman Powell said post-game, he kind of alluded to the fact that we're going to be using that lineup more, is how I interpreted something he said with the small ball with Nico. So that's interesting. I feel okay about it when Nico Batum's out there.
Yeah, teams do it against the Kings, right? You make Sabonis like have to work and move around a little bit on defense. I mean, small ball 5 or small ball with Nico out there. Put any other 4 people out there. I don't care. Nico will hold it down.
Yeah. Also, hopefully, like the Clippers' improved rebounding can stay. The Clippers are holding on to a top 10 spot. Kings are just outside the bottom 10. They're 19th right now.
Okay, so we're trepidatious about the game against the Kings. How are we feeling about this game against the Raptors? Because 30th in defensive rating, they're 2-7. Will, you mentioned the rebounds. They are an elite offensive rebounding team. They're fourth in offensive rebounds per game, and they're first in offensive rebound percentage.
Part of that, though, like
they miss a ton of shots, and so there's a lot of offensive rebounds.
Yeah, so that's part of it.
Though.
The other thing is if you're just one of the few teams that actually emphasizes offensive rebounding, I wonder just how much that has it. Because so many teams now, they're like, there's not as much of an emphasis. It's rush back to go ahead and defend. It's not, it's not as highly prioritized, I feel like, as other aspects of the game.
I mean, the Raptors take the second most field goal attempts and they're 9th in field goal percentage. So they're not playing in shots off the back. You know what I mean? Like, I think, Will, you are right. It's a very fast team. This team is built to just run. And we've seen it where they'll run against the Clippers and it's kind of a game, but then their defense just decides to just kind of stop playing. I think every game we've played them, we've had a run of like 15 points. Like, and it's kind of like, oh, right. This is what a young, not as disciplined on the defensive side of the ball team can give up.
I think I see what one of their issues is. They're right next to the Clippers when it comes to turnovers. They're at 16.8. The Clippers are at 17.1. But the Clippers got to get away with it because they turned you over so often, like last game.
And they're not a good defensive rebounding team. So they're the complete opposite defensive rebounding. They're 27th in defensive rebounds per game and 30th in defensive rebound percentage. So maybe they're instituting what you just said, where it's like, who cares about the defensive rebounds? Just grab our misses. Just grab our.
Let them finish out the possession. We'll get it back. We'll get it back on the other end.
We'll get the ball back.
That's probably why they're so bad defensively. They can't close out a damn possession.
Which big game for Zoo. Got to go against Jakob Poeltl. This could be a double game for Zoo for sure. Would, depending what Harden looks like legs wise after they play the Kings. Maybe it's a funnel it to Zoo game.
I like that. Yeah. That'd be good for them. I just want to get the split, and then you're 5-5 after 10 games. And I said if they were 5-5, I would sign up for that after the first 10 games. So I will not complain.
2 back-to-backs on the first? No.
I'll be slightly mad about Portland still.
Did you say you'd shave your head if they weren't 5-5 after 10 games?
Shave everything, man. Siamese cat.
I mean, 5-5 after having 3 back-to-backs in the first 10 games with a roster that's still kind of figuring each other out. I would sign up for that.
And how many bad teams would they have faced? 3 of the 7, you could say, if you had Toronto, San Antonio. I guess 76ers qualify as a bad team right now.
76ers qualify for sure. Like maybe more so than the. I mean, not even maybe more so than the Spurs.
Hey, Nuggets just gave OKC though their first loss, and Russell Westbrook has gone off the last 2 games actually.
Maybe they should start him.
Probably. Like that's one guy that can go 48 minutes.
I think that'd be best if they went ahead and did that.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Could 29 other teams actually start Russell Westbrook? Could he just kind of ship around? He's got the energy to do it. I don't know what it says in the rules.
I think he can go further than 29 other teams. I think he can take it overseas. There's teams he could start.
They're going to rename that Xavier Moon MVP in Canada after Russ after he gets up there. Shout out Xavier Moon. RJ Barrett's having a pretty crazy season. He's averaging like 26 points a game. But he's going to have to get put into the torture chamber against the Clippers. I'm excited about this Raptors matchup strictly because it's going to test the legs a lot. It's a fast team. They're 9th in pace. Like,
where are the Clippers at?
In pace?
Yeah.
They might. They actually.
I'm just curious because it feels like
25th now, somewhere in there.
Let me find it. Not the
26th.
24, 20. Wow.
And they dropped.
Oh, I'm seeing 28th on Basketball Reference.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Oh, I'm on NBA.com.
Which one is more accurate? I guess we've never figured that out.
I think NBA.com updates.
I think NBA.com because
hours after games.
Betting.
Oh, yeah.
There's betting stuff involved too.
Right. And again, I'm pretty sure the staff for Basketball Reference is still like 15 people in a church basement.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, it's going to be I don't know, weird back-to-back. Just kind of a weird, like stylistically, it's 2 very weird teams to go against. One after another.
Yeah. The Sacramento game worries me. But I think they can get the split. 5-5 start. We're okay. Treading water without Kawhi. What more do you want?
Yeah, and no update on Kawhi. We were told he wasn't going to play this week. He's still not playing this week. So that's where we're at with that.
We are nearing December, though, fellas.
Keep asking, though.
I will say people have stopped asking, which I think people are just like, fine, this is where we are. Like,
they ask, you know what? When you win, they don't ask so much about it. When they lose, like, when's Kawhi coming back? What's going
100%.
on?
I think that's a great point.
Adam, why aren't you asking him in person every time you see him?
Hey, Kawhi, when you back,
I'm a
buddy?
coward.
Dude, that he would just look at you, or not even at you. He would just look above you and then just continue walking.
It seemed like he was in a great mood last night, though. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
just a win or if it was Paul George being back. I have no idea, but the vibes were immaculate.
That KL2 hoodie he was wearing was sick. It had like a New Balance logo I don't think I'd seen for him. It was pretty cool. Yeah, this is going to be wonky. It's going to be weird. If they lose to the Kings, I'm worried about, maybe they just come out and smack the shit out of the Raptors.
Because if you stop the Raptors, if you slow down their offense, generate some of those turnovers, which they're willing to give up, and the Clippers can get some easy ones against a bad defense, get out and run a little bit against them for some cherry picking buckets, like they'll be in decent shape.
Derek Jones need the legs. We might need the legs against the Raptors. Gonna be the young guys.
Derek Jones gets beat up every game and stays in the game.
It's the new Norm,
every game.
Dude.
Yeah, it's like Norm.
Norm hasn't taken a direct shoulder or elbow to the face recently, which is good. I hope that streak continues. What's he shooting since he started bleeding so much that one game? What game was that?
It was Halloween. It was the game against Phoenix.
Damn. Months ago at this point. Anything else about these matches before we get into the player of the game picks?
James Harden is so due for a big game. If you want to talk about efficient game, if you want to talk about stealing one against Sacramento, that could be the way. That's going to be a tough place to play, and they're playing well even without knocking down threes. What if James Harden finally has just 5 for 8 night from beyond the arc, something like that?
I would love that. That would be fantastic.
Overdue.
Yeah. Is anyone else overdue for a good game on the Clips?
Scoring wise, man, you could stay still. Terrence Mann for like
Hardy 14.
It's not like, man doesn't have times where he gets 14, 15, 16 points every couple of weeks. Like, and we haven't gotten it yet.
I like that. Yeah, big 12, 6, and 4 for Terrence Mann against Sacramento would be great.
KPJ 25. You never know. I mean,
hey, he puts the shots up. He puts up enough shots to maybe get there, which is, I don't know if respectable is the word I should use, but it is something that does happen. All right, coming up, we're gonna be giving our player of the game picks. Then I think that's about wrapping it up. It's midweek, a lot of basketball happening. So if you're listening on audio, it's gonna be a quick break, and then our player of the game picks coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in. It's Clips and Dip. I'm Adam Moslin. This is season 3, episode 26. We got Chuck Mockler, Will Updike, the entire crew here for you. And another back-to-back, the third of the season already for your Los Angeles Clippers. They will play 16 or have 16 instances of a back-to-back. Sacktown, then back home against Toronto on Saturday. So, player of the game, and not just any player of the game. The Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac player of the game picks. Will, you want to give us one?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
This is for both games, right?
Yes, they have to play good over both games for this to count.
Yeah, seeing as it's a back-to-back, I'm going to go DJJ.
Ooh, like that. I like that. They'll need him.
I think it's pretty easy to see a pathway for him having a great game against the Raptors. I'm just hoping that he can bring some of the defensive intensity and energy in that Kings game. I don't think he'll necessarily be a standout offensively, but I think that a solid performance from him in that first game, and then sort of him kind of going off a little bit more against the Raptors to take some of the burden off the older guys who are undoubtedly going to have to play heavy minutes in that Sacramento game. I think that's the path for DJJ.
Helping shrink the floor in that second game while running the floor in the first one. That would be awesome.
Big Chuck.
I almost was going to say James Harden, and I know we can't, but he hasn't been efficient.
He's almost become available to pick again.
He's almost become available to be taken,
more of these games
to be taken off the title card for this pick. I picked Nico last game. I don't know if Nico's going to have 2 good games in a row. I think he'll have one. I think he'll shine in one of the games. I was going to pick Jarrett Jones Jr., full disclosure. This is an easy one, and I think Adam's going to be pissed off I'm saying it. Chris Dunn. There's a guy who's going to be good in back-to-back games.
Great pick.
It's going to be Chris Dunn. Welcome to the dungeon. He's a bunch of people's, Adam, like you said last time, favorite Clipper. As soon as he got on the floor, he shows what he can do.
He's your favorite Clipper's favorite Clipper.
He might be. I'm going Chris Dunn, and I feel pretty confident about it, and I can see in Adam's face the fury that I picked Chris Dunn.
I mean, like Paul George said, it's stupid.
Like Paul George said, I fell for clickbait.
I will go with then. I will go with. God.
There's not a lot after the 2 that we've already seen. We kind of just going to rotate between the.
Yeah, seriously.
3 guys.
I feel like I've taken Terrence Mann a lot. I'll go with Amir Coffey. Amir Coffey. How about that?
Keeping the run up.
How about that?
Take that for data.
Two-way player.
Great picks by all of us. They'll probably all 3 have great 2 games, and the Clippers will be 7-5 going into the weekend. One thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up, and it's leftover from last season. We beat the 76ers so bad that Jordan Miller and Bones Highland got time, which is great for the people who really want them to get time. They don't look good in this time. The garbage, I don't mean to be disrespectful. They did not look good. Bones doesn't seem to take it seriously. Jordan Miller.
You're not wrong. I mean, like, I can't say that you're wrong.
Jordan Miller, someone pointed out, it seems like he can't really dribble with his right when he gets pressured or something like that. I don't know if I fully buy into that, but like, they're not showing anything in the very limited. I love Jordan Miller. I think he should get some time, but he hasn't exactly shown that yet.
Yeah, and the problem is, even if he does in garbage time, people are just going to say, whatever, it's garbage time. So it's kind of in a no-win situation. I guess he tried a 3-pointer. He got ripped again on a turnover, to go to your point about having troubles with his handle. I think he got ripped against OKC as well. And it's not like they were going up against the starters or anything like that. Right. I think a lot of this does stem from Bones Highland. And I think he has to be better. And I'm not trying to bring attention to something that I'm not even sure if it happened or not. I'm just kind of wondering if anybody else saw it. But it seemed like Coach Lou was screaming something at Bones Highland. And I don't know if he hit the ignore button or he did receive the message. But I couldn't tell if he was like listening when Coach Lou was trying to coach him up. And I don't know. There was a moment there where I was wondering, is he tuning him out with bringing the ball up right now when Coach Lou was trying to give him some direction? I honestly don't know. I'm wondering if anybody else knew. Get into the comment section. There just seemed to be some bad body language and, you know, a lot of ISO ball. And he did get a jumper to go after nobody else touched the ball in the possession. Cool. But he had a really bad pass, wrap around behind the back pass that went out of bounds. And then a long 2. It was just, the play was not very inspiring and it was not very serious.
Yeah. And I guess I hope that next time we see him in garbage time, it is inspiring, because doesn't seem to be helping his case to take KPJ's spot.
No.
Not that KPJ has lit it up, but he rebounds, he cuts well, which he did last night for his 1 bucket.
Bones did this last season too. So this isn't something new. So we're already watching and seeing if it's happening again. And there's a close eye on him. And it is. And it's just, man, he's too young. I understand if there's frustration. because he had the backup job and he was playing really well the first 4 games of last season, but he does
That was
not
a
want
year
to.
ago, man.
Sure.
Move on.
You can't defeat yourself, and not giving 100% effort no matter what time those minutes are coming, being at this age, it's a bad look if that's what
It
it
is.
was.
He's too good to look like that. Is the thing. Like
Great call.
he's too talented against a garbage time lineup. Like he should be shitting on people and like helping his teammates shit on people. Like you know what I mean? Like it's nonsense. And
You're
I get
right.
that I get that it's not the biggest opportunity, but I mean take advantage of pop for 2 minutes. Like, and I'm not saying that you're gonna like you're gonna be the you're gonna be the backup
guy or
point,
whatever,
but
yeah.
isn't that a better path forward than looking like shit in those 2 minutes? I don't know.
Exactly. The fans like Bones, and they're waiting for something to get excited about, even in those minutes, because they're young guys with potential. And if they did do something exciting, like Kobe Brown had that layup right away. That was kind of a tough shot on the right block.
Older than Bones Highland, by the way.
Yeah. Come on. You're showing tape regardless. Coaches watch everything. They don't go over it and say, oh, I'm not going to watch the garbage time minutes later on. They're evaluating everything.
Yeah, you're telling me Van Gundy's not watching the garbage time?
Yeah, dude. Fine-tooth combed. Show out, please.
Please, next time. Maybe it'll happen against the Raptors, but like, you got to put good tape up. It doesn't matter if you stay after practice and work on whatever. If you're in the game and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Because I'm pretty sure at the end of the season, when they compile it all and are going over it, they're seeing a bunch of garbage time minutes that may add up to like 30 minutes of total tape. It happened to all be during garbage time. And if you played that poorly, they're seeing a bunch of trash tape of 30 minutes on you that all happened during garbage time. And they're not going to care about that it was inconsequential minutes. That's not how it's going to look.
Your minus 16 garbage time supercut, like that doesn't feel good.
No.
Figure it out, Bone. No. But
it's early, but it's just some warning signs that we saw last season seem to be bleeding into this season.
I mean, it's discouraging because it feels like more of the same. You got a guy who's like at the time was only 23 years old. He's already getting shipped home by the team. Like, come on, like get it together. I mean, like, I know it's not your ideal position, but like, do you want to be here? Do you want to be in this league or not? Because this is what it is some nights.
And you know who does want to be in this league? Who's having a little moment right now? Brandon Boston Jr.
Hey, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was like, would anyone be surprised if Brandon Boston Jr. popped this season? Like, that was my argument for playing Jordan Miller. It's like, you can't find out about these guys if they don't ever get real minutes, if they don't ever play out there, which I know kind of goes against Bones Highland. But hey, he's actually played real minutes and played really well in them. Just take the other one serious too. You can't act like it's beneath you. You're too young of a player for that.
100%. We hope that the garbage time minutes, in the good way, are better this week against the Kings and Raptors. We're going to maybe do a post-game live on Friday. Whole crew should be at the game on Saturday, which should be a good time. If you see us, come say what's up. Double dip on AM 570 for the games and probably an episode on Sunday for y'all. Will, where can these people beg their family members to listen to this podcast so they can finally relate to them at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, don't be like Bones Highland. Don't be too proud to beg. Beg your family members to go ahead and listen to this podcast wherever they get their podcasts. If they don't know where to find them, tell them download Spotify, download the Apple Podcast app. We're there. They could leave a little rating and review. That'd help us out. They could leave comments over on every episode on Spotify, or you could tell them to watch us over on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Still the best way to enjoy this podcast, in my opinion. One man's opinion. But however you enjoy this podcast, we appreciate you for listening.
He is but one man, William Updike. Adam, one positive thing to send these Clippers fans out on this frigid Thursday evening with.
You know, while the Clippers don't have Paul George, the guy that is in the starting lineup that is somewhat replacing and supplementing the scoring loss without PG, he's going for it. He wants this, and he's taking advantage of it right now with Norman Powell. And it is easy to root for a guy that is looking for a shot all the time, that is being aggressive, and that is living up to walking the walk and talking the talk from everything he said this past offseason. So So far, 8 games in, Norman Powell, congratulations. You're kicking everybody's ass and proving why you should have been in the starting lineup before.
We love it. It was addition by subtraction. We will be back for y'all fairly soon. Here's to some dubs. And as always, let's go Clips.